Hey guys, welcome to Super Style. This is Prachi and today I restart my series Smile with Prachi. If you've been following me on my channel, you might have noticed that previously I used to do this video series, Smile with Prachi, where we would talk about our problems, girls would write letters to me and I would read them out and we would try and help each other. So today I wanted to read out the letters, but there were two reasons why I did not read out the letters. First of all, this week has been madness. First of all, my home is still a mess, okay? I still have so much of that to do. And then on top of that, the whole situation online that you might have noticed, it just took up so much of my time and energy. I just didn't get a chance to go through the letters and I felt like I wouldn't be doing justice to them because I think at some level I am still a little bit angry. I want to make Smile with Prachi videos, give people advice when I'm feeling stable. This week, I thought I would be stable, I was stable, but then, sometimes haters do get the better of you. Which is exactly what this video is going to be all about. Somebody mentioned in the comment section that, hey Prachi, since you're going through all this, why don't you actually make a Smile with Prachi video on this? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Because, guys, here's the thing, okay? No matter how much you try in life, okay? No matter how much you try in life, sometimes you will have to deal with bullies, haters, these negative people because they are unfortunately everywhere. I have tried so hard to make Superpower Style a positive community, and for most part of it, I think 99.9% of it is very, very positive, and I love this place for it. But then on that particular video, the haters were just there in an enormous number, and like I said, life sometimes does this to you. So haters are everywhere, guys. What I went through, and I don't want to make this video about what happened this week because I have talked enough about it, but what I'm trying to say is that what I dealt with was still online. There are people who go through bullies, haters, negative people in real life. Schools, college campuses, offices, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. So how do you deal with haters? The first thing I want to mention here is that this is something that somebody once told me. I don't know if I've already mentioned this before, and this is something which I really believe in now. Okay, the thing that was said to me was, the way you look at the world is a direct reflection of how you see yourself. Okay, this line is so powerful, guys. It's so powerful. People who are so angry all the time at everybody else, these are people who are actually angry within themselves, for themselves. They are disappointed in themselves for whatever reason that might be. You don't know the history, you don't know everybody's life, so it's tough to tell. What was amazing about this whole experience, it was a very big learning lesson for me also. In this whole situation, okay, a lot of these hate comments, really dirty hate comments, horrible stuff, guys, you can't even imagine, were actually being said by doctors. People were calling me and my viewers disgusting morons. The term used was illiterate, and what not, man. There was somebody who said that I look like a porn star, somebody who abused my family, somebody abused my husband. How can you do that? So, all that was said, but then again, if I step back, I also realize that these are people who are just angry with themselves. Maybe they're not happy with the way their careers are going. Maybe they're not happy with the things that are going on in their homes. Maybe, somebody who called me illiterate or my viewers illiterate is somebody who, probably passed his exams without feeling that he deserves to pass his exams or whatever. So these are people who lack self-confidence. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is that when somebody hates you, when somebody is trying to bully you, don't make this about yourself. Sometimes it will be tough. For a moment it was tough for me also because I was like, oh my god, have I really done something wrong? But I honestly didn't see anything wrong, and thankfully I have Gaurav with me. Gaurav had watched that video and he's like, I don't understand why people are so mad at you, Prachi. You didn't do anything wrong. And then my viewers came back and they commented that, Prachi, you're doing everything right. That helped me. So I got help from people, but you won't always get help in life, right? At that moment, it's really important to tell yourself that this is not about you. Don't blame yourself. So what I'm saying is the first thing you need to do when trying to deal with these people is to understand, to separate yourself from their anger, okay? And by telling yourself that this is not your fault. That point itself, when you realize, when you tell yourself that you are right, okay, that you don't deserve it, is the point where you will find yourself suddenly being very strong, okay? And when you feel strong inside, you do the next thing. This step often helps, does not always help, but it often helps. Start by first trying to ignore these haters, okay? That's what I did. I'm just giving these examples, guys. I hope you don't mind. I'm just giving these examples because I think it makes more sense, you know. That is what I did. Like when these people started passing the hate comments, when they were not that rude or that nasty, I ignored them. I blocked them, I removed them. Guys, it just takes 2 clicks, you know, on YouTube to delete a comment, to block a person. It's that easy. So initially that's what I was doing. I tried to ignore them, and that I think is what should be done every time. So there was this girl in my school, I still remember, and I'm sure most of us have seen these kind of kids in school, you know. So there have been movies about these kind of people. So this girl, you know, very pretty and very popular, everybody wanted to be her friend. She was so snooty, oh my god. Even now when I think about it, I'm like, I don't know what was wrong with that girl. She was so snooty. So for some reason, she always wanted to attack me. So initially, when she was being sarcastic, when she was being snide, I did not even realize. You know, I thought it was just friendly and sporty, and I just ignored. After a while, I realized that there was a pattern that she kept doing it. So I kind of just separated myself from her. And you know, when she passed a smile, I did not pass, but I did not return the smile. I was not good to her. I just ignored her. You know, when she was walking down the corridor and I saw her walking towards me, I would just turn my face and walk away. So she realized that she's not going to get attention, she's not going to get reaction, and eventually she stopped. But then again, that was just this one incident. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work. So I remember when I just started college, okay, I was sitting in the classroom. This was, I think, some kind of a seminar thing going on, you know, 2 or 3 day seminar in college. So I was sitting kind of at the back of the, you know, classroom at that point, and there were these 2 girls sitting, like sitting a few benches away, you know, in front of me. And me and my friend, we noticed that they are going on turning back and looking at me and laughing. So I asked my friend, is something wrong with me? You know, again the same thing, you blame yourself when somebody's being mean to you. But it's a natural reaction, right? So I asked my friend, is something wrong with me? And she's like, let me check. No, nothing is wrong with you. And I'm like, look at the way those 2 girls are behaving. So the first day I ignored her, ignored those 2 girls. I thought they would stop. The second day I ignored them, they didn't stop. And the second day it got even worse. Third day, before the class started, I just went to them. And this is the third thing you need to do, okay? If the situation allows, confront them. I just went to them very nicely but very sternly, and I went to them and I said, okay, you have a problem with me? And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, do you have a problem with me? And they're like, no. And you know, oh my god, I still remember their faces. It was so funny. That's all I had to do. I just had to confront them. So this is something which I've seen people, you know, like somebody wrote to me that, you know, in her family she has some in-laws who are always pinpointing or always, you know, passing comments or just saying that, you know, you're not good enough, you're not doing this right or doing that right. Just go and ask them, is something wrong? Or just ask them. You know, this is actually a very good strategy. This is something which has been proven to really work for a lot of people. Just go and ask them, or rather say this to them, that, you know, when you say these things to me, it feels like you are attacking me personally because you don't like me. Or something like, you know, when you are saying that you don't like my cooking, even though other people are praising it, I can't help feeling that you have some other issues with me that you don't, or something about me that you don't like. You know, whatever the situation is, when you say it that way, that when you know, like in this format, in this style, it really takes them aback. And a lot of times, you know, again, this is something which I've seen, and this is again a psychological fact. These bullies, these people, when they try to attack you, okay, they are people who do not have self-confidence most of the time, and that is why this is basically their way of overcompensating for the lack of confidence, guys. You have to understand that, you know. So they fake their self-confidence. This is why we have so many bullies online. So confronting the bullies online does not usually work. Sometimes I do this, you know, somebody is trolling me or being extra mean, I just take screenshots of what they are saying and I post it on Instagram. So this one time, this one girl was doing something of that sort. What not she wrote to me. I posted on Instagram, and then she's calling me up and, you know, misbehaving and saying, Prachi, how can you make a post online? How can you say this thing about me? I'm like, I didn't say anything about you. I just posted what you had already posted. You had already posted this online, so I just put it from one media and I put it on another media. And I never saw her again on my channel. So yeah, you know, sometimes it works. So that's another thing, another strategy which you can apply if ignoring them does not work. Next thing I want to say is that, you know, if these things still don't work, this is especially true for people who are in schools and sometimes even in colleges. Just go and complain to the higher authorities, especially in case of ragging and stuff. There was this one girl in my class, oh my god, I have so many stories from my school days. There was this one girl in my class, very quiet, very shy girl, okay, very shy girl. She did not have a lot of self-confidence, but a lovely person to speak to. So she didn't have any friends. I used to keep going to her, prodding her, giving her chocolates. I always tried making friends with her. Unfortunately, we're still not in touch because, she never really reciprocated. I don't think she wanted to be friends, but I tried. So I remember this girl, nice girl. She used to sit alone in like this one bench, that was put separately in the class. So she used to sit there, and sometimes I saw, that the girls would go and just bully her. They would take her tiffin box, they would lunch box. A girl does not like me using the word tiffin, so I'm correcting myself. Oh, whatever, I'll say tiffin and annoy him. So they used to take her lunch box, her tiffin box. Sometimes they would take her pen and break her pen and things like that. So once or twice I noticed, and I was like, okay, she's going to step up. And then, one day I lost it. So that's when I told her that, what, these girls are really mean, okay? And they were a gang of, I think, 7, 8 girls. I did not want to fight with them myself. But I just went to her and I said, why don't you go and complain to the class teacher? And she's like, no, the people will hate me even more. And I'm like, what do you mean they will hate you even more? You're not talking to any of these people. Do you really want to go out there and make friends with them? Or do you want to actually go and slap them? Tie them to a chair and whip them with a whip? And she started laughing and she's like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. So I'm like, why don't you go and tell the teacher about, what they're doing? I mean, I'm not asking you to slap them or whip them, but because that's wrong, okay guys, that's wrong, okay? I'm not supporting that. But why don't you go and complain to the teacher? Eventually she did have to go and complain to the class teacher. This gang, these people, they still kind of made some comments sometimes. They were still, they still try to act over smart sometimes, but they never went and attacked her the same way. They never took her lunch or tiffin, they never took her stuff, they never broke her things. And I think, yeah, so sometimes complaining works. Don't be afraid of what the reaction will be. I mean, if you complain, so once I had to complain to my parents, and there was this guy who kept coming to my home, and everybody knew that both my parents are working, my brother was going to school, and I was alone at home. So a lot of people, they just sneaked past the security of my building and they came. So this one guy, he kept stalking me and I started getting really scared. So I went and told my mom and dad, and they handled the issue. So don't be afraid, especially if you're a teenager, especially if you're a kid. Don't be afraid to complain. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? There's nothing wrong with protecting yourself. And if that also does not work, or that's not an option, like in my case it wasn't an option, step up and fight back, okay? As a YouTuber, I can tell you, I have had to deal with so many issues. Like just a couple of months back, there was this issue with some company, and it wasn't even my fault, guys. Not even one bit of it was my fault. The company was misusing some rights that they had. They're doing horrible stuff, really horrible stuff. And they even got a lawyer, it was a big company. They even got a lawyer, and they're trying to threaten me with the lawyer. So it was a very scary time for me because, I have had to deal with legal issues before. I've gone to the police, sometimes again to deal with bullies and haters. Oh my god, I have so many stories like that in my life. And this time, guys, I was like honestly really scared because, of the whole situation. It was really messed up, and these people were like big, okay? Like they were giants, and they are giants in their field. So even though they were the ones who were doing something wrong, they were trying to take advantage of the situation and the fact that they are big people, and that I do not have the resources or the power that they have. I was really scared. And one day I was crying, because of this whole thing. I was really tired of having to deal with it on a day-to-day basis, all the abuses, all the drama and everything. And then my mom said, what is the worst thing that can happen if you fight back? You go to jail, you end up paying a huge fine. At least you don't have to live like this every day. You don't have to feel that somebody's taking advantage of you. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So what I did, I got a lawyer for myself, okay? And then I went to this company and I said, okay, fine. This is my lawyer, we are going to fight the case. And believe it or not, the moment I went to them with a lawyer, they stepped back and they're like, okay, everything is fine. And I was like, oh my god, I've gone through hell, I've suffered so much for such a long time. Why didn't I do this before? So that's the thing, about these people. Sometimes you have to actually fight all the way through. There are a lot of shameless people out there. But in my case, I think what helped was, first of all, I was actually 100% correct. And second of all, I think I had done my homework really well. When I actually went to them with the lawyer, I had done my complete homework. I did not have any stone left unturned, and when I went to them, when I went to challenge them, I made sure that they knew about it. So the last step is fighting back. And again, that's the same thing which I did on the hater comments. When I was being called a porn star, and my family and my husband is my family. I should get used to saying that. People who are close to me were being abused. When my viewers were being called illiterate, when they were being called morons. Yeah, somebody even said something like, these days the chai wala, for my international viewers, chai wala are the people who sell tea. A lot of times they belong to the lower strata of the society. They usually are not educated, or often they're not educated, let's put it that way. Chai wala, pan wala, these people, what do they think of themselves these days? They talk like politicians. And I was like, and then this person said something comparing me as a beauty blogger to them. So that post was so offensive to me for a very weird reason. What would be weird for this guy? This person was trying to insult them, he was trying to insult me, and what really offended me, what really got to me, was the fact that this person is taking a poor guy who's selling tea, a poor guy who's selling pan, somebody who did not have the privilege of getting the education that he had, and insulting their intelligence. Guys, some IQ is mostly an inborn thing. For most part of it is an inborn thing. How can you just say something like that, insult their intelligence, and say that what do these people know? What do you know about what he knows? Before you make that comment, ask that person. There's a very good chance he is far more intelligent than you are, and especially considering the way you are talking. These people work really hard. Some of them sleep on railway platforms. We all have seen that. In India, I'm sure we all have seen that kind of poverty. And how can you just go and insult them? And then he's trying to insult me by comparing me to them. For me, it's not an insult to be compared to them, because I think if anybody is working hard, is working with honesty, if somebody is working with integrity, they get my respect. I always say thank you to my maid when she leaves. When she enters, I always say good morning to her, because they deserve respect. Everybody deserves respect. They are human beings, in fact even animals deserve respect, but that's a totally different matter. That's a different issue that I keep fighting for all the time. But that is what these people were doing. So when I saw this kind of nonsense going on, I was like, what, enough is enough. I don't care who you are, I respect your profession as a doctor, but I am not going to respect you as a person. You do not get my respect for behaving like that. Okay, there are a lot of people, I think, especially again, in our Indian culture, we will see where the grown-ups, the older people, they say that, oh, you don't respect me, I'm the older one. You don't have to respect somebody just because they are older to you by age. Okay, you respect them because they are human beings, because that's the right thing to do, to respect people. But just because you're older does not give you the right to bully me, to dictate my life. I agree, the older ones often know a lot more than we do about a lot of things. You respect the knowledge, you respect the experience, but you don't have to respect them if they're treating you badly. So yeah, that's what I did. I went, I lashed out, I got angry, and I let them know that I was angry. I fought back. So before I uploaded that video, I think every 5 minutes I was getting one really rude hate comment. Right after that video was uploaded, in which I was lashing out, the hate comments almost stopped. For the next 6-7 hours, I barely got 4-5 hate comments, and 1 or 2 of them were actually quite decent. I mean, they're not hate comments, they were coming from good people. Again, some of these were doctors. See, I'm not saying that I have a problem with doctors, right? But this mentality, this attitude I have a problem with. So some of these doctors, they came and they wrote some very decent stuff, they wrote things very nicely. And I was like, okay, this is good. You are making people aware. You're telling people that this is a bad product, and you're making people aware. And I support that. In my whole video, I'm supporting that, and I still support that. So yeah, instead of attacking me, you work with me in helping people become aware. I'm supporting that. So what I'm trying to say, that again, I'm sorry, I kind of diverted from the topic. What I'm trying to say is that if nothing works, fight back and keep fighting back. The problem with fighting back is that once you've fought back, there is no going back, from that point. But fighting back is the last step, and it has to work. It works, okay? The fights may continue for a longer period of time than expected, but they work. So do not let them know that you're scared. Do not let them think you're vulnerable, and do not feel vulnerable, okay? You, as a human being, have the right to be treated with respect, with dignity. And there are a lot of people who don't understand that concept, and they can go to hell with that concept and whatever their messed up opinions are. But if they attack you, if they try to manage your life, like in my case in this company, they were literally managing my life at that point of time. You have to fight back, and it's okay. It's okay to vent out your anger on the right people. I mean, instead of being angry over here and venting out your anger on somebody innocent over there, you might as well vent out your anger on these people only. So yeah, that works. So yeah, I hope this video helps you guys. If you're dealing with bullies, if you're dealing with bad people, with haters or whatever, try and think about these points, okay, that I've mentioned. And most importantly, like I mentioned initially also, don't make this about yourself. Sometimes it will be difficult, sometimes it will be very, very difficult, but don't make it about yourself. If these people are coming in gangs and trying to convince you, a single person, you go to them with your gang. If you don't have a gang, raise your voice, and let them know that you're angry. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share in today's video. If you have any strategies, any ideas, any opinions of your own to share, and most importantly, if you have any stories of your own to share, people that you have gone through, because I think everybody goes through these kind of people sometime or the other in their lives. In my case, turns out I have dealt with a lot of these people. Share your stories in the comment section. It is just lovely to read them. It kind of heals you when you share these stories. It heals me, it heals my viewers, and it also helps people. So share your story, share your comments, share your feedbacks. I would love to hear from you guys. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being there with me when I was in a bad mood, and for all the amazing comments that I've gotten on this last video of mine. It really helped me, guys. Really, really helped me. Thank you so much. Bye bye.